Welcome to the Scottish Property Podcast. This is a show where we aim to educate, inspire and entertain through real life stories and interviews from people in the Scottish property community.
As always, thanks for listening and give us a follow on social media and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Remember to join us at our monthly networking events on the first Wednesday of every month. Tickets are available on our website. So without further ado, we'll just cut straight into this week's podcast. David Stewart, welcome to Scottish Property Podcast. It's only been 14 months of messaging to get you in. You're a busy man, but thanks for taking the time.
I'm here.
Good. And I've been following you for a while actually, and you started posting a wee bit more on social media lately, but you've been in the game a long time, and no giving away your age, of course, but we'll go back and unpack your kind of property career, your journey through kind of quick sale auction companies, and now to obviously setting up yourself. We'll talk a lot about sourcing, direct to vendor. I think it's one of your specialities. And also some of the big flip projects that you're doing as well. Some absolute crackers in there, 100k profits and stuff like that. And there's a lot to talk about. So yeah, where did you grow up, man? Where are you from?
East End of Glasgow. So born Shettleston, still live in East End, Greenfield now.
Brilliant. And
all my life pretty much.
And how were you at school? Is it straight A's or is it school not for you?
No, I was good at school. I got 5 hires and stuff like that, all kind of credits and things like that and standard grades, but chose to kind of go down a kind of traineeship, day release. I've done civil engineering. So I've done that kind of day release while getting a salary rather than going to university and taking on student debt and doing that for another 4 or 5 years.
So
and
was that like an apprenticeship style thing?
So it's like it was a traineeship. So you started off doing like your HNC and then you do your HND and then you could go back to university once you had done that, and you only had to maybe do a year or two because you'd pretty much done, college was the same modules as what you'd done at university. Mm-hmm. So you got your HND and then you could go back to university sponsored by a company and you could still do another year, 2 years on day release or whatever and still get your degree if you wanted to do that. But the company I left and the company I went to work for, they just didn't care about you having a degree because it was housing development design I'd done. So they were like, if you can do the job, we'll pay you the salary. Yeah. We don't care if you've got a master's degree. If you can do the job, why would I pay you 20 grand and him 50 grand because he's got a degree if you're doing the same thing?
And it's always interesting, I find, looking at somebody's path, and how they find themselves in property. But ultimately, that career path wasn't for you. When did you realise that?
My first 4 years probably traineeship. I was getting into the bosses and saying, listen, I'm bored. Like some people were just sitting twiddling their thumbs and were happy getting paid. I was like, I'm bored here. I'm sitting in here and I'm doing my work in an hour. Mm-hmm. I've got a bit of maths head. So figures, calculations and stuff like that, I would just go in and do it. And other people would still be doing it 6 hours later. And I'm like, can I get something else to do? And they're like, nothing for you to do. And I actually just said to the technical director, I said, I'm going to leave. I said, I'm just telling you, I'm being honest. I'm no want to sit and twiddle my thumbs. I want to learn. And that was kind of what happened. They basically said, well, it's a traineeship, we don't have much more work for you. And I'm like, right, okay, I'm just going to sit here.
And some people might have just been happy to sit back.
There was loads of people I worked with that were like that. They seen day release in college. Me as well, you get a laugh and stuff like that at college, is it? Everybody does, but people are just like going for half an hour and go to the pool hall, snooker hall. And I would do that as well, but I think I could get away with doing it because
you could pass the exam, pass the modules.
I could pass the modules and I could do the work and stuff like that, whereas it was people that were just, you're thinking, they're never going to pass this.
What was your exit out of that then?
What do you mean?
So what led to you, because I know you then got into sales, was that kind of your next transition?
So I'm not going into too much detail, but went and worked for another company, loved that, one of the best jobs I had, then made redundant for there. Right. Because it was housing development design, so get into kind of 2007, 2008, we might have had 60 to 80 sites we were working on.
Property market crashed.
And then all your big builders, Bellway, Miller, Persimmon, were like, see the 80 sites you've got, finish the 10 that you're halfway through, see the other 70. Parkland. So we maybe had 80 members of staff and they had to cut that to 15. So it was a kind of first in, last in, first out type of thing. So I had only been there maybe a few years. So I was one of the ones in the first.
That must have been a difficult time as well. Was that?
It was, but.
What age were you back then?
I'm trying to think.
Like mid-20s?
20s or something.
Obviously like you're like, I've got a decent job here.
Yeah.
Looking forward to
and
a decent
I did
career.
like it. It was, it was really, really good. It was interesting again because it was numbers, calculations, it's just type of stuff that I liked. And then luckily I got a job with like the 5th largest company in Europe that was based in the East End. So I was like, this has worked out brilliant. You know, they were like, we won't be affected by this. We've got airports, hospitals, you know, commercial buildings, it's done by councils. And you're like, right, okay, this might be okay. And then in a year or something like that, and they're like, there's redundancies. And I'm like, here we go again. Last in, first out type of thing. I was on the redundancy list for my department, which was civil engineering effectively. And there was another department who were looking for staff. It was like, to do like coding and stuff like that for like Scottish Water buildings and, you know, sewage treatment plants and stuff like that. It was literally admin. It was boring, but I was still getting the same salary. And I was working in that. I was doing the work in 4 or 5 hours. There was a gym in the building. I was coming in late, got to the gym. I was running a 10k in my lunch. I was finishing at 3. And they just let me away with it because I really just filling in until they made me redundant.
Right.
That was it. So after that, that's when I went into sales. So I took a commission only, get made redundant for there, into a commission only sales job, which people were like, how are you going to do that? But at the time I was earning the same money as what I was earning doing civil engineering. So.
And that was in shopping centres, was it?
Shopping centres, so it was like gas and electricity. They pests that annoy you every time you're walking through. Like, your gas and electricity.
Your head goes down, you're like, how can I get around this guy?
I could do it now, and I know I would still be good at it, but just the thought of even doing that again, like, I'd like to do it for a week.
What was your tactic, man? What was your opening line?
I don't know. I don't think there really was a tactic. I think just natural. People, some people, again, I was good at it, so people would be like, how have you got 10 gas and electricity a day and I've got 2? And I'm like...
See, to actually stand there though in a shopping centre and have to do that to hundreds of people every day, surely that must build up some confidence. I think it builds your resilience, and I think that's how I'm good at what I do now. I always say this, like, some people just couldn't do it. Because it's constant rejection as well, right?
You might be in a shopping centre for... You need to set up before any of the shops open because you're setting up stands and things like that. So you might be in a shopping centre at 7:30 in the morning, ready to set up. You can be sitting at 4 o'clock with no conversions. You've got nothing, you're a commission only job. So you've went, I'm in here for 7:30, it's 4 o'clock, I've not made a penny.
And how much would you get for a conversion? It varied.
I can't remember exactly what it was at the time, but I was earning anywhere between £500 and £1,000 a week.
Right, okay.
In the shopping centres. Probably more when I worked for the marketing company, probably closer to 500-600 when I worked for Empower directly.
Right.
Which, that gets shut down, that division, when the whole door chatting scandal with the gas and electricity companies, but it didn't with the power companies directly. So I get basically poached for Empower because all the figures went through the same system. So Empower could see what I was doing and were like, do you want to come and work here? But again, there was a crossover. So part of your contract was they couldn't poach the people that worked for the marketing company. So I had to wait 6 months for leaving there before I could work directly. But some weeks I was earning £1,000.
Decent.
In shopping centres. I got a basic wage then.
Aye. Back then as well.
It was good money.
Good money, aye. And then obviously, when was your first experience into the property sector then?
So, Empower again, it seems like the story of my life, made redundant for there, because again, the door...
Had a few redundancies.
The door knocking... it's just like, for ages, I was just like, it used to be like a joke with my family, like
how long are you keeping this one
for?
Where
are you going to now? Like, are you getting made redundant, or are you just no good and you're telling us that?
That builds up resilience, and you're not the type of character that sits back. You know, you're like,
I always
where's the next thing?
I could never know work. Like, I just don't understand how people can do that. But I always had something to go to. So when the Empower thing happened, I then worked for Sky for a bit. Again, no Sky directly, but through one of their kind of call centres. I was earning, I can't remember my basic wage was. It was like 18 grand a year, and you might make another 5 grand on top of that in commission. But that was probably the best job I had.
You said you loved it. What did you love about that?
Just the environment. It didn't feel like work.
Right.
You know, you go in and it was just a laugh. You know, the shifts were mental. It was like 9 o'clock and you could work up to 11 o'clock at night. And that was Monday to Saturday.
So it was obviously there was a minimum requirement, but then was it down to you? So
you got a basic salary, and again, then you would have targets, stuff to get. But again, with the targets, I could do my target by Wednesday.
How did you, did it get competitive in there? Do you talk about who's the top, or does it not?
It was
really
always in boards.
That?
It was always in boards and things like that. But I used to like get my target for a Wednesday lunchtime. And I would maybe be working up to Saturday, and they used to take me off the phones to like teach other people and stuff, like, what are you doing? Can you listen into calls and stuff like that? And I used to just float about. But
so you're good at it then?
I was good at it.
Aye.
And then I got approached, obviously, to go and work in property. And I was like,
this is for an estate agency company?
Estate agency auction. So I had worked for a property company in between that.
Yeah.
Between Npower and this for a few months.
Right.
And it just wasn't for me at the time. It was, why are you leaving at 5:30?
Was that an estate agent itself? Like,
it was a quick sale kind of company. And it just wasn't for me at the time. That was the first time I had worked in property. And that was the first time I'd went for a job that was fun, getting a good laugh. And then
did you feel that because what was the kind of like thing that was going through your head? Was it almost like the owners of that company, without saying too much, was it just how much can we squeeze out of you for our benefit? Was it that kind of feeling? I think the problem for me, Nick, was I had always worked in, you had set hours. So when you worked in civil engineering, it was 9 to 5. If you worked on extra, you get paid extra. The gas and electricity thing, the shopping centre shut, that was it. Your shift was finished. Whereas in there, you would be working for 9 to 5 and you'd be like, right, I've done all my stuff. And they'd be like, well, where are you going? I'm going home. Like, well, you're not going to stay on, you've not hit your target. And I'm like, no, right. So they were wanting you
I've got football training or stuff, but the targets again, at that time to me were just unrealistic. They usually are unrealistic, and they were unrealistic in most of my property career when I was an employee as well.
But set intentionally high to try and drive.
And of course, I don't think that's right. I get it to an extent, but I always think a target needs to be based on facts and figures. You can't just say your target's 20 a month. You need to say, right, the average for last year was 14 a month, so we'll make your target 16.
It needs to be realistic.
It needs to be something, but you might have a target of 20 and you might only do 7 or 8 deals.
Do you not feel that valued then in that sort of environment then?
So in that, I was just, my heart just wasn't in it. I just wasn't in it at all. And that's when I left to go to Sky. I missed that out. That's when I left to go to Sky.
Oh, yeah.
Enjoyed that. And then one of the people that worked at that company.
You'd made a connection there previously.
Then worked at the next one, the auction company, Fast Buy company, and approached me and asked me to go and work there. And for a couple of months, I was like, nah, can't be bothered. The basic and the commission in there would have been probably double what I was earning at Sky. But at the time, I was like, I wasn't too fussed about the money.
So you spent a bit of time at this well-known auction company then. Again, we'll not name names, but how long did you spend there working there?
For 8 years.
What was your role?
So started off just pretty much like a valuer, just same as what I was doing in the last place, just making phone calls, going out and visiting people, just...
So they were they obviously market and spend, getting in the leads of sellers.
So it wasn't just an auction company, there was an estate agency arm of the business, there was the We Buy Any House arm of the business.
Yeah.
So I worked across...
You're the guy that's getting sent out to the seller's house.
So I'm the person, when the lead came in, I would phone it, I would find out their situation, I would pitch the different parts of the business to see what worked best for them, go and visit them, whether that's in Aberdeen, Dumfries and Galloway or Glasgow, get the contract signed, get the photos took.
You're doing a lot of travelling then?
Aye, all over the place.
Did you enjoy that?
Sometimes. You know what it's like? Sometimes you could be in Aberdeen on a Monday, you could be in Dumfries and Galloway on a Tuesday, you could be in Dunfermline on a Wednesday, and you're like...
And you're not getting it, maybe you're getting rejections as well?
No, really. Most of the time, if I went to an appointment, I would convert it.
Right.
They would go one way, whether it be quick sale.
No, just because I was better than anybody else, just because I would have that phone conversation first.
Pre-qualifying.
So it would be, what I'm telling you, you're going to go for that route or that route. You're quite happy with that. So what I'll do is I'll bring a contract with me, come out, we'll see you face to face, we'll chat over it. So I would try and kind of pre-close it effectively before I went there. So I was hoping to go there, get a contract signed.
Wasn't wasting your time travelling in the country.
Because you're not going to drive to Aberdeen.
What do you think makes a good initial sales call in that industry when you get that lead and you're phoning it up for the first time?
Listening.
Right,
listen.
okay.
The most important thing, don't talk, listen.
I'd be terrible at that, man.
Listen to me.
Terrible at listening, even in this podcast. So his wife listens to podcasts, right?
I know, I've heard you say it. I've heard you say it before.
He'd said that 5 minutes ago, Nick's asking the question. So, so just hearing the problem then.
Hearing the problem and finding out what the trigger point is. Working out why are they contacting you? Why are they not selling it with a local estate agent for sometimes double what you can give them, or 30-40% more. Okay. I also now work alongside estate agent auction companies as well. So as much as I don't have that in-house, I'll still pitch the options to them. So I'll say, you've come through the We Buy Any house arm of the business, my local property buyer. This is what we can offer you. But if we can't get to where you need to be, here's other options.
You're partnering up.
Yeah, here's other options.
So, I mean, just obviously, I'll give them a shout out because they're good supporters of the podcast, but guys like Prime Property Auctions and that, they'll pay you a referral. They'll put it through their auction. You don't, need to do anything. You just need to pass on the lead, and that can work out quite well. So what years would that have been then that you did the...
So I've been doing this for about 4 years, and then I was there, so about 12 years ago is when I started.
What year would that have been then? Just trying to think. 2000...
So 2012, 2013 is probably when I started.
So and the market was kind of recovering then a little bit.
When I started there as well, I didn't really have any property experience. So when I started there, as much as my title was acquisitions director, at the end, it's effectively just like I suppose I was like a trainee valuer, really learning. I knew a bit about property, but learning about quick sale, learning about estate agency, learning, and it was brilliant.
Again, it's great experience, isn't it?
It was brilliant.
It all builds up to where you are today, because I think the problem, and we had John and Lewis talking about this as well from Prime, about too many young folk are on Instagram. They wanted to get where you are now, doing 100k profit flips, and they're not prepared to fit in the...
I get it all the time, for people I've went to school with, people that I know, pals, like, right, I want to get into property. What do you know about property? Not much.
You can make money.
You can make money for it, but you need to know what you're doing. It's not a case of, I'll just go and buy a property for Rightmove. You might be an electrician, or you might have a building company, but it's still not as easy as...
You've spent 8 years, day in, day out, on the phones, listening to people's reasons why they're selling their property, what they need to get, negotiating, I would imagine, is a big thing.
Yeah.
Getting them to actually sign the contract, sitting in people's living rooms, dealing with situations where maybe a family member's now got involved and the whole dynamic of the thing's changed and the deal's off the table.
Yeah.
How do you get all these problems that arise? You've spent all that time building up that experience. So can you think off the top of your head, just over the years, some of these tricky situations maybe that have arisen, how you've dealt with them? Is there anything that pops out that you could...
There's that many, I can't think.
I mean, obviously, we're talking about, there's always a reason why, and it's usually the kind of, for the quick sale purposes, we're talking about...
Let me give you an example of one that I've just completed on then,
right,
which is...
Go for it.
After that, so what I've got now, so just completed in one in North Berwick a week or so ago, 2 weeks ago. Spoke to the seller on and off, spoke to him on the phone, sounded like just normal. Absolutely normal.
And again, so just for listeners to piece this together, you advertise on Facebook,
Google.
You spend a lot on marketing, so these people come to you.
So this person's put their details onto our website.
Right.
I've phoned them up and said, it's David from my local property buyer, put your details on the website. Conversation starts for there. So somebody looking to sell quickly, went through some figures, went through the situation, they're living somewhere else, the property's vacant. Like, fine. Make an appointment, come and see you. I goes to the house and I'm there a bit early. And don't ask me why I done it. I went to
hang on a minute. I am listening to this, but I just need to understand. North Berwick's a bit of a trek, right? What's that, an hour and a half or something?
An hour and a half.
Aye.
So
for you to go through there...
It's a place called Drem, so it's literally just at the start of North Berwick.
Right.
It's not right on the coast.
So for you to drive, take your time, because that's basically a half day out your day.
An hour and a half. So
how do you pre-qualify that then on the phone
So there's
call?
obviously a conversation.
And you gauge
the conversation, she needs to say, like, the property's sitting vacant. You hear all the trigger points. Property's vacant, she's no living there. Right, this is a good lead.
Right.
Properties. So went there and the door was kind of ajar a wee bit. So it looks as if there's like a wee sort of a conservatory, sort of a walkway. So I thought that this was just like a porch.
Right.
Opened the door and I could hear kind of like movement in the house. Now I've told the woman I'm early and she said she'll not be there for half an hour. she's in that house. So I'm like, something's no right here. So on the phone, I just think this woman's absolutely fine. So I opens the door and I heard the rustling. I thought I better shut that door again. There's somebody in there. Just went back to my car, grabbed a coffee. She said she was in her way, and I'm like, maybe there's a dog or there's an animal in it or something. Like, maybe it's not the women. But I goes back after 40 minutes or whatever, and this is 40 minutes over when I'm supposed to be meeting her, and the woman comes to the door. So I'm like that to myself, she's been in here this whole time.
That's the same
I don't know if
noise,
she's been cleaning up, or I don't know what she's been doing, but I go in and have a conversation and stuff where have a look around the property. Place is a mess inside. And she's like that, sorry about the mess and stuff of the place. And I'm like, listen, I've seen it all. Speak to her back and forward, agree a price, go away, everything's fine, pass her on to the solicitors, get the formal offer accepted. We've got a bridging facility with together, so it's kind of pre-approved. You probably know it's 85% loan to value. You only need to put down 15% deposit. So I thought on this one, probably needs an 80 grand refurb. I've already got 180 grand in another refurb I'm doing just now. So I'm like, right, okay, I'll use this bridging facility. So it's going through conveyancing. This goes on for about 8 or 9 weeks. Due to settle on it on the Tuesday. I go on holiday on Wednesday. So I'm wanting this settled so I can pick the keys up, go out with the builder, pass the keys on to him and say, get the rip out done. I'm expecting to come back and it's done. So the lady emailed the solicitor back and said, I've been away. I can't settle this Tuesday. Can we make it next Tuesday? So I'm like, it's no ideal. I'm on holiday, but if it's not going to go ahead, it's not going to go ahead. There's no point trying to force it for a week. Go to settle it the following Wednesday. They run an updated title search and the woman's been an application to be made bankrupt on the Wednesday. So she's never told me any of this. I don't know any of this. I don't know any of this story. So it turns out I'm like that to her solicitor and my solicitor. Can we find out what it's for? Is it a mortgage? What is the debt? It turned out it was for council tax.
Right.
So I'm like, right, okay, it's council tax. What's the debt? And I'll pay it. So council tax debt's 11 grand.
Again, you're trying to find the solutions to the problems.
So I'm like, I'll pay the 11 grand off the council tax and it'll just come off of the offer that I've made.
Right.
So we agree all that. Then together finances solicitor come back and say the insurance policy basically for them to loan you the money is invalid now, because as soon as there's a bankruptcy application, anybody she owes money to can now come ahead and make a claim against the property.
Right.
So we've got the redemption figure. We know what she's owed in the mortgage. We know what the council tax is, but I'm like, what if she owes somebody else 30 grand, 40 grand, 50 grand?
They could come in and claim it, and then you
claim it. So we're accounting bankruptcy. Learn every day's a school day. They can come after you for 5 years after that property bought. So if we buy that property and we rip that apart and we refurb that property,
what a risk
to walk-in condition, they can come after that and take that property off us. And take it off you.
Even though it was the previous owner.
Even though I've paid the money for it.
And you're the new owner.
And I'm the new owner. They can come after it and make that house.
Right. So what happens now?
So my solicitor, I use Michelle at Archibald Sharp. She's like, don't buy this.
As she would, because she's obviously got to say from a professional point.
I didn't think it was worth this amount of value. It's hard because it's in the middle of farmland and there's not a lot of comparables on it. And this one's also been extended. So when I'm running my numbers, I'm very conservative, always over-egg the refurb in my own head. And I never ever work in the highest comparable. I'll always work on the lowest or the mid to work my numbers on. When I got a survey as part of, we need a survey to draw down the money for the Together facility, the valuation came back double what we would agree to buy it at in its current condition. And I'm like, Jesus.
This is how I'm going. You're like, this is an amazing deal.
This is an amazing deal.
Your solicitor's telling you to pull out, but you're like,
and I'm like,
this is an amazing deal.
And now I was on the phone to her and I'm like, just go ahead. And she's like, really? And I'm like, go ahead.
You're prepared to take the gamble
so I'm like that to her. If we lose 150 grand, we lose 150 grand. It is what it is. Just go for it. So at this time Together are about trying to draw down the funds, and Together are saying this policy is no longer valid because they don't want to lend us the money, 85% of the purchase price, because they're worried that accounting bankruptcy might come back. So I'm like, right, scrap it. What can I do? Can I get the money just to buy it in cash? Got an investor who'd been talking about investing with me a while, and I said, you give 150 grand to buy this. And he's like, no problem.
Did you tell him about the bankruptcy?
No.
Knows now.
So it doesn't really matter now because we've worked out
it's clear.
We've worked out that the debt is now, there's been loads of checks done in the background since that.
Right.
So that's all done. We left it another few weeks in case anybody came forward. Once that notice was up, nothing's came forward. We've paid all the debt.
So it's looking,
that's done.
Good touch wood, but you said up to 5 years.
Up to 5 years. That £150,000 loan we've took's not secured against that property. It's personal to us, to the business. So
a private
if somebody
loan
came after the property,
aye,
we'll just give them it back off another unencumbered property.
Yeah. It's not like their capital is at risk because it's like
we'll pay the capital.
It's a loan towards you.
We'll pay the capital back regardless.
How much communicating are you doing with the woman, with the seller throughout the process?
None, because
are you trying to
she was so hard to get on the phone.
Right.
Like there was a couple of times I had to send like messages saying, right, we're going to pull out the sale.
It's just a single woman. Like,
I think she probably buried her head in the sand. Like she's probably been a bit embarrassed by the property, the condition it was in. How it got in that condition, I don't know. But she's probably thought, I've not been truthful with this person for the start. It's now got to this point. I've dealt with that situation a million times. Bankruptcy and things. So I'm like...
One thing I'm really interested in is kind of morals and ethics around quick sale.
Yeah.
And obviously you've got a reputation to hold. You've been in this business a long time. How do you kind of balance that up when you're maybe sitting with a vulnerable person who's just about to go bankrupt and... are you transparent with them to say...
See the offer I made in that instance, and the offer we made, I was working out, again, a top-heavy refurb. What if we re-roof it? What if we do the windows? What if we do the central heating system? What if we do everything? What if we take the flat roof off the garage and this wee porch bit and we put on another roof? And I'm going, right, in a worst-case scenario, this is going to cost us this. I had offered that before I knew about bankruptcy. I didn't know that until the week before settlement. So I just thought, this is somebody looking to sell this house. It's miles away for the trades guys, so they're an hour and a half. Most of them are Glasgow based.
Yeah.
So I'm like, right, okay, I better be on the side of caution where if she comes back and says, I'll go for it, that the margin's in there. But when the valuation came back at what it did, I was like, God, this is better than what I thought it was going to be.
Well, I mean, I guess as well, you're prepared to take the risk. There's quite a lot of risk in there. There's a lot of work, heck of a lot of work.
See, most of these properties as well, like people will go out and offer maybe more than what we'll offer to buy it directly, but they won't buy it. So they might offer 30 grand more, but they might contact me or they might contact Stephen or they might contact somebody else.
Somebody else and they'll buy it.
And they'll buy it and they'll go in and do the refurb.
You were talking about this before we came on, that there's so many quick sale, we'll buy your house for cash quickly, companies and advertisers about, but very few of them have actually got the money or will actually complete on it themselves.
Yeah.
So this is what you're talking about, either co-sourcing or just passing it on, or passing it on just as a lead to like...
So sometimes I'll do that. We've got my local property buyer, which is we'll buy your house as quick as we can effectively, to suit the needs of the seller. But, we do sell properties on to other investors as well, but I'll tell the client that. I'll say, right, okay, let's just say it's Aberdeen, for instance, and it's valued at 100, it's on the market 85, it's no selling at 85, we know the value's no 100, it's probably 85 to 90. I might go in there and say, listen, I can only offer you 65, that's the most I can offer you with 8% tax and stuff on top of it. I might want to spend 10 on it. I'm looking to try and get all money out as close to it as possible. I can only buy it at this, but I've got somebody local that buys in Aberdeen that can offer you 5-10 grand more than I can.
Right.
I'll tell them that. I'll say, that's no us buying it.
Okay.
It's another investor. Most people don't care.
Yeah.
So as long as you're upfront with them.
As long as you're honest with them. The problem is when people will submit an offer and it'll be We Buy Any Homes Perth, and it'll be an offer from We Buy Any Homes Perth on nominee. And then what happens is they submit the offer to get the client secure, if you like, and they're then away to their email list or WhatsApp list, hunting for the buyer. And then what happens is they just change the buyer over.
Does that just drag on then a lot of time?
So the conveyancing doesn't start. So they get a formal offer,
right?
Which to most people that don't,
should be the conveyancing starting.
That should be the conveyancing starting, but the reality is they're just buying time. So there'll be a week, 2 weeks before they can find a buyer. That's when the conveyancing will start.
And
so they're never going to buy it.
Seeing that contract that the seller, the vendor sells, does it say that, is it like an exclusivity that they've got it just depends. There's so many different ways of doing it.
Different ways to skin a cat. Some people will get people to sign an exclusivity contract, or people will get an assisted sale or an assured sale. Or
do you not find yourself going out when you get these leads in and they're maybe talking to like 3 or 4 other companies and stuff like that? Maybe even turn up the door and the guy's coming out the door and that.
I've not had that for ages. I've not had that for a long time. But I'll speak to somebody, again, I'll not say any names and stuff, but they'll be like, I spoke to this person, and I'll go, is their name such and such? Did you speak to that such or such? Because I know everybody that works everywhere, and they're like, it was him. And I'm like, I used to work with him.
Right.
Or, you know.
Got you. So then you know straight away what you're up against, because you've been around about it for that long. So then how does that kind of change your outlook? Do you just still continue with the same formula?
Do you know?
Okay, so fancy making £1,000 for sending a WhatsApp? Let's take a wee break to talk about referring sellers to John and Lewis at Prime Property Auctions. Me and Stephen have both done it, and it couldn't be easier. If you know someone selling a property, the guys will pay you £1,000 or 1% of the sale price, whatever's higher, just for passing their details. Doesn't matter if the seller is already with an estate agent or not, just drop the guys a message and they'll do everything from the first call to getting the property sold. Know someone who might be looking to sell or struggling to get a result with their agent? Go to the link in the show notes and send them a message now.
A lot of people get themselves caught up with competitors, and there's so many people doing it, and you can be negative. There's enough out there for everybody. Mm-hmm. There's
That's the way I look at it.
I don't spend anywhere near the amount that the other we buying out that actually buy do. Mm-hmm. They spend fortunes in compared to me.
What would be a kind of monthly budget for you for advertising?
Probably anywhere. It goes up and down depending if we're buying a lot of stuff or we've bought a lot of stuff. Sometimes I'll turn the budget down. If we're hungry for more flips and stuff, we'll put it up. But it can go anywhere between $1,500 a month and $5,000 a month.
Right, okay.
Just depending what it is.
And do you get somebody to do all that for you, like an agency?
Yeah. So I work alongside another quick sale company down south.
Okay.
Do similar to what I do. I use their in-house marketing guy.
Right, and does anybody, because I've been watching a lot
I pay him separately out with the
that's
business.
An additional fee.
If I get any English leads, I send them to them. If they get any Scottish leads, they send them to me.
I've been researching a lot about online ads and all that, and doing a lot of YouTube, and the way they kind of, I don't know if are you aware of like the cost per, what's it called? ROAS,
return on ad spend. Yeah. So I have a monthly call chat with the guy that does the leads, and we'll screen share and go through. I've got the Google ad management on my computer, so I can see exactly what it is, what the spend is, what it is. But I had a chat with him the other day, and a couple of the, no competitors, but a couple of the people doing what I do are now tracking my key ads, so he can tell that they're tracking what I'm doing.
Isn't it?
And they're bidding up on keywords that I'm bidding on. So obviously they are. Listen, it's just the industry. It's the name of the game. I've told him never to do anything like that because I'm not interested in trying to get.
But see the thing about property, right? It must be very expensive to do the one like the Facebook ads and all that, because see if you think about it, if you're talking about, I know not every deal is going to be $100K profit out of flip and all the rest of it, but that is, you'd be prepared to pay a lot of money for a lead like that, wouldn't you? Something that's going to make you that amount of money.
When I started doing the Facebook ads, I done it. I don't mean myself, like I done it through a marketing girl, but she set it all up for me and stuff. The ads were 4 years ago. I was getting ads between £8 and £10 a lead, and they were decent. So one of the very first leads I got, I mean, it must have been literally the second or the third lead. It was a portfolio of flats in Aberdeen on Urquhart Road, and at the time,
bought that, did you?
You would have.
It's my mother's suicide flat street.
So six in one block and 6 in another block. Right. And I sold it to one of the competitors for, can't remember what the fee was, I'd agreed 18 grand or something like that. So one of my first leads, I'd spent 30 quid, 40 quid, and I got a lead. Eventually, the guy was a bit of a dick and changed the goalposts about 5 or 6 times just as they were about to complete and stuff. And eventually I lowered the fee to 12 grand because the deal wasn't as good as what we had agreed. But a 50 quid spend, I had made 12 grand. And the second week, I had agreed a flip in Falkirk that had 60 grand in it or something, 70 grand in it. So I'm like, this is a piece of piss. Why have I not done this? Why have I not done this 4 years ago?
What's your highest ever sourcing fee?
Individual.
Aye.
Depends how you put it. If you put it as a sourcing fee or
back end mandate as well.
All right, well, let's talk about the back end mandates because there's a lot of chat about this.
It depends how you say it. Individually, sourcing fee, 12 grand's probably, but that's a portfolio. So across 6 properties, it's not a lot of money. It's only 2 grand a property.
Yeah.
You know, a good deal, 5-6 grand.
Okay.
It's just a fee to the buyer.
Aye.
But if you're going to be doing assured sales or mandates, or a lot of people talk about assisted sales as going in, taking over a property and doing a refurb. You can also do an assisted sale where you just assist them to sell it. You don't do any refurb. You might rearrange their furniture. You might for photographs, but
stage it a little bit.
You might do that.
Well, so you're basically on the stage.
Well, let's just say, for instance, you agree somebody £80,000. So
right.
They say, right, okay. You say, I'll pay for a survey up front. I'll take photographs and stuff like that. Whether you put it on market with an estate agent or whether you sell it off market, you might go to your network and say, listen, I can give you this for 92 grand. It might be worth 110. Somebody might still buy that at 92 plus a 4 grand, 5 grand fee. Because it's a 3-bed semi and
so seeing that scenario again, this caused a bit of sort of chat and debate on the Facebook group and stuff like that with the back end man. Is that similar to a back end mandate? Are you signing something? You're agreeing.
So the seller's signing a document to say that they are going to get 80 grand in their hand. You would be telling the seller, listen, we sell this for more than £80,000. That's how we make our money.
Do you always say that?
If it sells for 82, you get your 80. If it sells for 85, you get your 80. If it sells for 90, you get your 80.
At what point does the seller find out that you're selling it for 95? You would be telling them before.
They see on the
they would see it on the offer, because offer will come across at 95.
So would that be their solicitor, or would you be telling? No, you wouldn't be telling them that, because that wouldn't go down too well, would it?
So I think, see, if you're honest and upfront, like you tell people from the off, this is what we're doing. So if they're coming to you through a We Buy Any House channel and you're telling them that you're only going to offer them 65 to buy it directly,
right?
But I can get you 80. We're going to make a profit in there. We'll pay for a home report, we'll get the 2 rooms painted, or we'll get that bit of ceiling fixed. Sometimes you might not need to do that.
So as long as you say to them, look, we're going to make something on top of that, we're going to make a profit here. Does that allow you to walk away from that saying, like, I've done my bit here, like, I can walk away with my head held
or
up
you
high.
can do it is where you say, right, we're agreeing 80 here, you're going to get 80. If we can sell that for more than 85, we'll split the rest 50-50.
Right.
But we're taking upfront costs, we're going to cover your solicitor's fees. I don't do it very often, the opportunity doesn't come up very often. I've done it.
What is your view? Because there has been some stories, again, unverified, reports, we can't confirm.
I know what you're going to say.
I'm not going to mention names again, but there's been mention of people doing these mandates with like 60 grand on the top.
So see, if you're doing a mandate and you're taking 60 grand and it's not a £1 million house or a you're ripping somebody off. You're just ripping somebody off. You're not being honest with somebody, because you're telling them their house is only worth 100 when the reality is it's worth 160. So you're lying to them for the off. You're then offering them 25%, 30% below what it's at, what you're telling them it's worth. So really, you're offering them 70 in a house that's actually worth 160, and you're putting it on the market and you're maybe selling it for 130. You're lifting 60 grand. When I first kind of started out, solicitors kind of rule of thumb is if you were lifting more than 10 grand out, they didn't like it. Most solicitors, Michelle, my solicitor, she won't do them. She just doesn't do them. She doesn't agree with it.
Yeah, that's decent. And I know Michelle as well.
And
she wouldn't have anything to do with that sort of carry on.
Is, and it's just, I think if you're honest with it, I think you can.
If you
there's people that would take the piss with it, and if I get 5 or 6 grand doing it that way, plus maybe a 3 or 4 grand fee, if you're making 10 grand, still a lot of money. The seller could get more than that if they put it in the market, but again, listen to your client, they don't want to put it in the market.
You do. I mean, you do hear some. You must have heard some shockers as well.
I've heard some shockers. I've seen some shockers.
And then you're looking at people and you think, you've just been totally shafted here, and you have no clue, because you're in a state of depression, alcohol addiction, drug addiction, bankruptcy, any kind of lowest form of what you're going through at the moment, and see, people are so quick to.
The thing is as well, I think We Buy Any House companies, or you can get a bit of a bad name, like when you're talking about that, because there's people that do these things that will lift 50 and 60 grand out of property, and people do it. Fair enough. That's in their conscience if that's what they want to do. But what you need to remember is you're not putting a a leaflet through somebody's door or chatting somebody's door or checking a bankruptcy list or sitting outside the hospital looking for people that are vulnerable, have come out of mental health ward, they're contacting you.
True.
A lot of these houses, you can't sell them in the market. Like this North Berwick one I'm doing.
I mean, this is a good point.
You can't sell it.
I had a conversation with somebody about this a couple of months back because I went out to the house to do a reality refurb actually, and the place was like, you couldn't walk, you couldn't move. You know what I mean? So what really are the options? You know,
exactly.
The bath was full of shite.
Yeah.
No estate agent's going to take that on. Like
you couldn't take. So this one that we've just bought in North Berwick, it's covered in rat shit.
Yeah.
Everywhere. So it's in the middle of a farm, so it's, you get rats all the time.
Right.
But they're in the house because the house is not lived in.
Yeah.
So rats nicer, they'll get in anywhere. So
so there is really no other option.
There is,
I mean, it's
no
either that or the woman goes bankrupt and loses everything.
Exactly. So she can go to auction, which I spoke to her about. She didn't want to do it. She had no interest in doing it.
And maybe she could have got a wee bit more auction.
She would have got more.
Aye. But you gave her that option.
If you think the value is 275,
yeah,
and I bought it at 138.
Well, yeah. Somebody
she would get more than that at auction. Okay, that was a valuation report. It wasn't a home report, because a home report's going to have a zero valuation on it. That's the difference between a valuation report for a lender will be what they think it's worth in its current condition. Whereas a home report's just going to be a 3 from top to bottom, the bath full of shit, the rats all over the house. Even buying it at auction, people are going to look at that and go, it's got a zero valuation and they're trying to sell that for 180 grand or 150 grand or whatever. What if it doesn't sell? I might then be going back to the woman saying, I can't offer you 138.
Yeah.
It's went to auction at 150 and it's no sold. I'm 100.
Talking about the assisted sales strategy, it's quite seems quite popular at the moment. A lot of guys doing quite well out of it, and I can see the attraction of it. What's your view on it?
I think it's probably one of the best strategies in property, if you can get it, because it saves you buying the property, it saves you an ADS, it saves you...
I think if we can just get the solicitors to kind of buy into it a bit, not buy into it, but
I think it's risky.
Make it a bit more...
I think every contract I've seen of anybody that does assisted sales or anybody in the past, every single person, and even the solicitor that wrote the contract, will say
there's loopholes there.
There's loopholes there. At the end of the day, yes, you might be able to take them through court. If you refurb that house and they say, I'm not selling that anymore, you're then starting a court process. You might be out 30 grand in a refurb.
And 30 grand in legal fees to get it with the house or buy it. Or...
You might be out all that money.
Yeah.
So I think it's one of the best strategies when it works. So I done one...
It's like you said, I don't know, the opportunities are a bit few and far between when it comes to estate sales.
I done one, I don't know if you remember it, at a caravan at the side of the house. We were trying to get the caravan taken away for ages, and the seller's son was taking it away and her pal was taking it away, and my pal was taking it away. He was going to use it for something daft inside, like put stuff in, and I'm like, what's happening with this? And just went to play 5-a-sides and got a phone call and his house was on fire.
That's right.
The house was on fire.
In Springburn?
Northfield, is it Northfield Road, Balonlock?
Balonlock, North Glasgow.
We had literally just finished the refurb, just been painted.
Somebody set the caravan on fire?
Somebody set the caravan on fire at the side of the house. It caught on at the side of the building.
That's right. Remember seeing it.
The roofer was supposed to come at the start of that week and put a new roof on the building, and he hadn't done it yet. And the whole side of the building, right up, so it's the corrugated iron roofs that's on it, so we were getting that taken off and redone, and fire brigade squish water in the loft right through the whole house. It was just...
That's right.
The women went to our insurance. It was, again, another learning
so
thing.
So again, this is still the assisted sale?
Assisted sales, another learning for me. I had seen her insurance document, that she had house insurance before I started the refurb. Never looked at it in too much detail, just went through it.
You wouldn't, would you?
No, just went through it. She got insurance, it's insured for this sum, insured for fire. Fine. She hadn't declared on it that it had a corrugated iron roof.
Right.
Never paid it.
Insurance void straight away.
Never voided the insurance. So we were supposed to be buying that property. We were supposed to be buying that fair. And just like you were saying, kind of morally, I got on really well with a woman. Again, a woman for Glasgow, no for the east, for the north, but just, she actually stayed in Barrafield, down next to Parkhead. So really nice woman. And I'm like, I can get you more by doing it this way. I would rather do that for you than us buying it at that, because we're just going to refurb it and make the money anyway. If we had bought it, we would have had the insurance on it, so we would have been able to get the money back. But we basically probably cost us about another $4,000, because we never took it off. We never renegotiated with her. We just said, listen, we'll
that was
absorb
decent.
it. We'll absorb the cost. We had guys up there pretty much the next day.
Who do you think started the fire? Just wee Neds,
No
just
idea.
wee kids, just messing about?
Never even went into it. I was just like, just need to fix it.
So how much, you're only out of pocket $4,000?
About $4,000. So
That's all right.
we had the money sitting aside to do a new roof anyway.
Right,
so
that's
see if
right.
we'd get the roof done at the start of the week, we'd have had to replace the roof again.
Was it all scorched on the side of the...
Right up the side of the building.
So what did you do with that? Did you have to...
We were ready to paint the building anyway.
So
we'd just finished internally. We'd finished everything. The building was due to get painted and the new roof was due to go in, but I mean, it burnt right up the gable and kind of warped all the metal. And then the fire brigade obviously went up on the ladders, pulled the roof, the tin roof effectively like a can, opened it and sprayed the water in, obviously all the joists and stuff.
Yeah, they're not thinking
I'm saying
about
joists,
protecting your profit.
on these roofs, it's like, I'm saying joists, it's like Meccano.
It's
These
metal
roofs inside.
construction.
It's metal construction. It's just
the war, they built them after the war, didn't they? And they rattled
So
them up.
these roofs are just, it's literally like thin, because there's no weight in it. It's just metal sheet roof, so it's no.
Mate, there's got to be better ways to get rid of a caravan instead of a light. So what happened to the caravan?
Sorry, the caravan got took away a couple of days later. I'm like, it was burnt out anyway. But we went in, and it probably wasn't as bad as what we.
It looked bad on the pictures and the videos.
The water damage bad, but see, once we put dehumidifiers in and dried it out,
it's amazing,
it
isn't
wasn't
it?
too bad. And
It's amazing that. I mean, we deal with it on a very small scale. You know, like if you're new to property and a ceiling comes in from a leak or something, you would think fucking disaster. But really, it's just a bit of plasterboard, isn't it? And it's like
screw a new sheet back up.
that comes again with experience, and these things don't phase you. Look at what you've been through with that fire. But
So
was that a result in the end? Did you get a result in
I
it?
still made 20 odd grand or something.
That's great. And the woman got a decent.
The women got
price
more than what she was getting, probably 12 grand more or 15 grand more or something than what we were offering her to buy it directly. So
That's a good result for all parties.
aye. That refurb was probably done to a much cheaper standard than what we would usually do. All our refurbs are usually quite high end.
There was one that caught my eye lately, and it was old sandstone.
Survey's been done on that today.
So what was that then? Break us down that one then.
So
where was that?
That's in a place called Kirkfield Bank. So it's literally 3 minutes for Lanark, 4 minutes for Lanark.
Lovely, big,
Lanark town centre,
traditional
stone built house, beautiful.
What size of house?
6 or 7 bedrooms.
Aye.
It's quite similar in style to that one you done that had you were in the wetsuit.
Oh,
Is that Errol? Errol Gift. It's quite similar in style to that, but it's over 3 full floors. So it's got a basement, a first floor, and an upstairs.
Direct to vendor?
So this lead actually came through somebody, this one.
Right.
Came through somebody, vacant property, starting to become run down. They don't know what condition it's in. They live down south. They're looking for 180 to 185 grand. I meets the woman who introduced us to it. I goes in and I hears a spraying sound. And I'm like, what is that noise? And she's like, I don't know. And I'm like, that sounds like water. So I goes down the stair to what would have been a kind of boot room, kind of wet room. It had 2 big, massive, like, beautiful big Belfast sinks in it. And I'm like, what's that noise? The water was squatting out a tap behind that sink and it was hitting the ceiling. There's big high ceilings. Yeah. It was hitting the ceiling and the water, there was a burst pipe in the bathroom, it was directly above and the water was coming down. So it was like water spraying up and came down like a water feature.
I had videos of it.
See that artificial there? That was growing real inside.
That's why I looked at it and thought, that must be going on for years.
So I walked run about the house and I could see the floors were off. And this was on the ground floor. So once I've come up for the basement room, I come onto the ground floor and I'm like, there's more water coming down from above again. And I'm like, what is going on here? And I felt the floor moving and I'm like, what's that? So I had laminate flooring, but there was a piece of laminate missing. And I could see down into the room below and I'm like, this floor is fucked under here. I'm like, I was trying to do a wee video just to kind of, so I could refresh my mind when I went back where it was. And I'm like, I'm going to go through this floor here. So I was like that to the woman, don't go in that room. Once we actually owned it and took the floor up, it was like dust. I don't know how I never went through it. So we had to take the whole floor out. We took the whole,
all the time,
nothing for the ground.
So building all the joists.
We redone the floor on one side of the house.
Aye.
Major. And the side of the house that it was done on wasn't the side that had the water damage. It was just dry rot and stuff. The spores had obviously went. So in the kind of kitchen level, the spores were like white spores like that length coming out the ground because they're obviously trying to find to grow. You know, it was just
people listening to this, by the way, so you can get a visual reference point. What's the Instagram that you're posting these videos on?
So I think that it should be on My Local Property Buyer Scott, and I think it'll be on both. It'll be on
Go
David
back.
Stewart
Anyone listening to this, go back. So he's got floods, he's got fires. There's no much you've not done with it.
Aye, so we are 180 grand into that refurb.
Oh, 180
grand. The 180 grand we're supposed to be purchasing it at, I renegotiated it for 100. So surveyor went in the day and was like, how did you get that for 100 grand?
And what's the end value, hopefully? What are you hoping to get the end value?
425. It's been valued today, 425.
And that's a
two twos on the home report. One for we put a whole new roof on it. So one's for the roof, but it's the sarking boards inside because I stained for the previous roof. We never changed that. We done the
just
roof.
on top of it.
We stripped the whole, obviously, the old roof off. It's a whole new roof.
Right. Again, is this bridging finance for the purchase, and how are you funding 180 grand refurb?
We bought that on the bridge we together, 85% loan to value. That was up. So it's on that loan facility, it's only 9 months. So I assume that's how they make their money. The other 3 months is probably where their margin is.
Right.
Just paid that off because we had money sitting. What we've been doing is we've been rolling the flip money into other properties.
Right.
So we're sitting with a lot of stuff unencumbered. I just remortgaged the first one 4 weeks ago in Portlethen, and that was to pay off another loan that we had taken out. So paid that bridging loan off. So the bridge was only 70 odd grand. Something like that was what we... On that one, they would only give us 70 or 75% loan to value because the valuation report was so bad of the property in its current condition because it's all that I'm describing. So...
Did anyone go and see that at the start to give you the loan? When you're getting the initial bridging? So
with that bridging facility, you've got to provide them with a valuation report or a survey. So Shepherds I used in that? I think it was Shepherds. They went out and done a survey on it.
When it had all you'd obviously fixed. Did you get the light fixed before the guy went?
got that. We got that fixed, and another one burst. So, season we put the water back on, the water started pissing everywhere.
How long do you reckon that probably be empty for?
Years.
Did you get any chat from any locals that came?
So the woman that gave us it actually stayed at the end of the road.
All right.
So. She was kind of telling us a wee bit of background about it. It was two doctors. I don't know if there must have been
loads of people all over that if it had been, and you managed to get it. Brilliant.
So we went out, had a look at it, went away, ran some numbers. I had the refurb at 130. We're now 180 in it. I had the refurb at 130, but it's old sash and case windows. They were all okay, but we ended up going for the EPC, the purpose of the EPC. We thought
UPVC,
let's just renew them. So still done sash and case.
So that's exciting. So it's going to hit the market soon, you said?
It'll be on the market. Home reporting photos are done today.
Oh, amazing, man.
That'll be on the market next week, I would
should have done should have come down for the video camera to reality.
I see that. Obviously the reality refurb, you hadn't started at the time because we've owned it now for 10 or 11 months.
Sorry, it's just funding you're saying you're doing a lot of just reinvesting the profits then. So is that where you get the 180 to do the refurb? Yeah. It's just
pretty much. When I left my previous place to set this up, I had a few properties. I had bought my grand's house and all that already. Right. So I refinanced.
So that's how you got started?
So I refinanced it and I was sitting with maybe 150 grand.
When you left your job,
when I left, John, who's my pal, business partner, he doesn't take any money out of the business.
Right.
In terms of salary. I take obviously wages and things like that. He doesn't take anything out of the business, but he'll help fund the refurbs and he's got the guys to do it. So
he's an important piece of the jigsaw because obviously
I couldn't do these deals,
these big refurbs
without him. I would have one on at a time. You know, if I was buying something at 100 grand with a bridging facility, I might only need to put down 30, say another 10 grand in fees, maybe 40, and then 180 grand in a refurb. That's 220 grand. All my money's gone. Cash, capital.
So it sounds like a great partnership then between John and yourself. And is that just a kind of, do you just, for each kind of flip, like for that one you've just described there, do you just set that up in a limited company and close it down?
No, we just keep it in. SPV and it's still just in my local property buyer.
Okay.
That's a story for another day, but I've got everything in my local property buyer.
Right, okay.
And it shouldn't be. It should not be rentals, SAs, other things. Not get SAs yet, but we're looking at doing a couple with a property we've got. So,
and you've got a few buy-to-lets as well?
There's about, having a wee look this morning, I think there's 16 properties between me personally, me personally, and in the portfolio. Some of that will be sold. So that big one is on. We've got 2 in Kilmacombe on the market, which was a commercial to resi. So that's unencumbered.
Not even get time to talk about that.
We paid the original loan off on that. No, in fact, that was a investor loan, 100 grand investor loan. So we paid 110 grand back on that, which was the Port Lethen one. That was the first one. So everything was unencumbered. The Port Lethen one, we had to remortgage to pay back the 110 grand to the investor who gave us the money to do the refurb in Kilmacombe.
Right. The commercial residential, what was it? What kind of commercial building was it before?
So it was a beauty salon, hairdressers.
Right.
We planned on buying it as commercial. So I've been watching some of the commercial stuff. Again, not going into too much detail, and I'm like, have a go at this. Bought this commercial building, was operating as a successful kind of hair and beauty salon. The woman running it just didn't want to run it as a business anymore. She wanted to just go kind of mobile. But there was 5 or 6 people working there, and as we took it over, one handed in their notice, another one handed in their notice, and then they went, we're going to work in one down the road. Because they couldn't handle working for themselves without this woman being there as a manager. They can oversee the whole thing. So I'm saying to them, right, you all need to take a bit of responsibility. You need to be responsible for cleaning, you need to be responsible for locking up, alarms, all these things. And they were just like, no, all handed their notice in, we put it up for rent, nothing, no interest whatsoever in it. It's Kilmacombe. So it's one of the most affluent villages. It's very, very affluent. So we're like, what will we do with this? And I'm like, well, we see if we can get planning to make it 2 flats. The architect came out and says, I don't think there'll be an issue with it. And get planning like that. And I went, well, that's our decision made. That's because we owned the building, we'd bought it with the cash for maybe like the Falkirk flip. So we'd bought it outright. So we owned it. So it wasn't costing us anything. We're like, right, okay, why do we not just take a loan to do the refurb on it? And then we'll sell the 2 flats.
You do all right out of that?
They're still in the market.
All right.
So we're considering putting in an application, doing an SA with them. Spoke to a couple of SA providers.
Would you not just drop the price, or are you at that point?
So we kind of, we were told they were valued at 320. I think, no, 315. So like 160 and 155, could one slightly smaller. And then put them on at that kind of price without home reports because they're effectively new builds. They're on now, I think, at 300. And kind of at the point where we own them, it would make more sense to refinance them, take 220 back out of them, put that into something else and keep them.
What's up with the market then?
I don't know.
Quite weird there.
Don't know.
Just shows you though.
I think they're quite niche. So they're two main door flats. They're 2 main door flats. They're marble worktops.
No gardens.
No gardens, but they're ground floor flats. So
do you think there'd be a market for that?
You would think there'd be a market for it. But who you think is your market? Is it your market? See if you look at them, see if you go on and type in Kilmacombe on the right, look at them, they're beautiful.
So I'm no doubt, because you do all your refurbs that I've seen, top end, top spec. Do you know what I mean? Even like your kind of buy to let stuff, I'm looking at it thinking it's nice. But so what do you think? I mean, that's only really 150, 160k. It's either a first time buyer or a downsizer, isn't it? So maybe it's
I was thinking a lot of kind of older people with the downsize. Obviously, Kilmacombe's schools and that are brilliant. So I'm thinking, well, people
grandparents or something.
I don't.
Staying high street, gardening maintenance. Yeah.
There's been continuously viewings.
How long's it been in the market?
Every week. Must be 3 or 4 months.
Jesus.
At least that.
This is the start of the telltales of a downward turn in the market.
Well, I don't know. I think they're quite niche. They're quite niche flats in what they are. Anyway, and we knew that.
What does it neighbour on to? Does it neighbour on other...
So to the left-hand side, there is a modern block of flats that kind of goes in an L shape, and there's a kind of walkway through it to the back. So there's no garden space, but there is a kind of grass area which is communal to the building, and the neighbour upstairs get flowers, and that's lovely.
And feedback from the agent. I mean, you're getting viewings.
So there's viewings, so that tells me there's no problem with the price.
No. But what is it? Are you giving any feedback?
So the feedback has been parking. So it's either on-street parking, there's a church directly across the road with a church car park that's open that the people above park in, so you can park there. There's parking in the adjacent streets. It's no like...
You went through this with your latest ones, didn't you? I see you talking about you had to create parking spaces.
Yeah, get parking in
that looked like a big job.
Tires going in the day.
And you had to get a lorry to back into the wall so that you...
so I can get away with it.
Oops. One of the ones.
Oh, that's unfortunate. We just get the delivery and it knocked down the wall. Nah, sorry, let us know, Finney.
Better cut this out.
I know.
I just read between the lines. I didn't even know. You never even told me that, but it was like
tell by my face.
It was like fucking obvious when I saw that video, mate. So sourcing, do you do that as a kind of? Is that kind of just give you a wee bit of income to live off as well? Like,
so like
pays your wages
that
a wee
one
bit?
I done settled that Rutherglen. I done. Usually we would buy that and just keep it, but the money's tied up elsewhere. Kilmacombe, no sellings, 300 grand that we hoped would have been back in by now. That 300 grand would have went straight into North Berwick and would have funded the refurb for that, whereas we've now had to borrow money. So it's just...
It's all challenges, isn't it, that you need to try and get over? Any other big kind of headaches at the moment? I mean, there's always headaches, isn't there? But
no, I wouldn't really say there's really any big headaches, just
stuff
cash flow. Cash flow, I mean, this is the lowest...
It's holding you back, isn't it?
The thing is, I don't know if it's holding us back because there's loads of unencumbered properties there. So see if we wanted, if something come up tomorrow,
you're low
we can just use that. The leverage.
Okay.
So we can just use, like, Kilmacombe and Lanark are owned. There's no loans on them. We've got business loans like that, 150 grand, and some family loans and stuff that family have had money sitting in the bank. No massive amounts of money that's sitting there, but they're just rolling it on at 10%. So we can just bridge against them. I could release 200 grand for Lanark tomorrow or 150 for Kilmacombe tomorrow. It's no like I'm sitting here going, I can't feed myself. But the funds in the bank account
tied up there.
Are you one of these guys that thinks about the end goal? Do you set yourself an end goal?
No. People say to me all the time.
Just go in the
Part
moment.
of my reason for leaving my last company is my wee girl's 7 now. And I just thought, I see you as well, Steve, I'm like, I don't want to be one of these people that are working from morning to 7 o'clock at night, don't see their kids growing up, and you come in, you read your kid a bedtime story, they go to bed, and then you don't see them. You're away to work, they're away to school.
I've been doing that, the M8 of getting stuck in some of that traffic with the roadworks. Imagine you had to drive through a commute to like Edinburgh and back every day. You'd be 4 hours out of your life.
I know.
You see people doing that day in day out. I'm like, fucking hell.
But that was my big thing for working myself, was when the wee one came along. That was it changes a switch, I think, in you. It's like, I'm not really money orientated. It's no, I stay in a mid-terraced house. I don't stay in a big fancy house. Up until recently, I've drove a Ford Focus. It's been a joke with everybody. I never was.
Well, I love that as well.
I got a slightly better car because I was meeting people and turning up, and you're going, right, I'm going to buy your house for 100 grand cash, and people are like, you're driving a 15-point Focus, mate. No, you're not. You know, and I'm like, right, okay, but I need to do something about this, and I've done it. I've had a new car for a year or something like that. But
you could borrow Stephen's Porsche for the day.
It's gone, mate. It's gone.
Oh, is it?
I got it there.
No way.
Aye.
All right. What are you getting next?
A Porsche.
I got a bike. I got a
motorbike.
Asked for forgiveness rather than permission because I knew that Kelly, that would just be like no fucking danger, so I just sold the car and bought a motorbike. Go out tomorrow.
I'm like you, mate. I love driving about in my banged up Passat, and it's just like, I don't give a fuck about that sort of stuff. But I get why it could potentially. People just judge, don't they? Like,
they do.
So like,
they do.
For
People
you,
do
if you're
judge.
turning up to buy somebody's house and you're saying I'll buy it cash, I get why that could be a bit.
Exactly.
I miss my Transit van, like the best car I've ever had. Aye. But the minute I started properly taking the business seriously, you say you turn up to go and meet an investor, you turn up to go and meet somebody, and they're like looking at you in your 06 plate van that's 40 bits. Like, what? I'm not taking you seriously. And you can see it in their eyes. They're judging you, and you've got that uphill struggle to try and convince them.
We had an investor that funded the refurb on Kilmacombe, and he's happy to do joint ventures and stuff with us. He owns a letting agency, and he does mortgages. And I went to meet him, and he turned up, and I mean, a top of the range, you know, blue, like kind of blue your car, Porsche GT. It just, I mean, beautiful. But I'm like, I'm asking this guy for 100 grand, 100. He'd already gave us it. This was another project, and he knows we're doing stuff. But you're like, at what point do people go, well, wait a minute, I'm giving you 150 grand here to buy this property, and you're turning up a 12 grand car?
Yeah.
It's like.
So obviously, I know exactly, but it's perception and it's like first impressions, isn't it? And I get it. Obviously, like try to run my lettings business. You know, like I would love to just turn up to people's properties like this. Yep. You know, with my gym gear on.
I'm sure you do, mate.
I do some of them that like see clients that I've like met in the podcast and all that kind of know me.
Yeah.
And I've got a relationship with. I do just wear this sort of stuff, but like other ones that are a wee bit colder leads that you have to kind of come across a bit more professional.
You have to put a pair of jeans on for
So
it.
I've got one pair of jeans that fit me, right? And they sit there in the corner of my office, right? And they just come on for the hour and then off. And I don't even wash them for the week. They just come on and off for 1 hour. And the shirt maybe lasts 2 or 3 days. And that's it, mate.
I'm sure you can just wear it for an hour and wash it and wear another shirt.
Nah, I can't. It's too much kid. I've got 3 kids, mate. See the
I know, but you've only got one shirt.
I want to know the reason why the rest of the clothes didn't fit you. You're too small, too big.
Too fat, mate.
That's why you're in the gym gear all the time.
That's it. Can't squeeze into those skinny jeans anymore. But there's no space in the washing machine, mate. We're doing about 3 loads a day just on the kids' clothes. But anyway, David, that was brilliant. Absolutely loved the chat. Thanks for being honest. And it's one of those areas as well, you know, like people think, you know, because you do a bit of sourcing and all that. Where do you think sourcing gets a bad rep? Is it literally people are just talking shite a lot of the time and they don't do what they say they're going to do?
I think that is it. I think there's just so many sourcers in. They roll off the training courses. And I'm not against training courses, but everybody's doing, on the bigger training courses, they're churning out 50, 60 people, telling them all the same thing. You know, you need your gold mine area and
Fake
stuff.
it till you make it.
That's it. And people are going out there saying, we'll buy your property. They're annoying estate agents. And I know you need to do that. You need to do that if you're going to be successful at it. But there's so many. How many sourcers come off training courses and how many of them are still doing it a year or 2 years later?
Very little last.
There's very, very
maybe
few.
try and make it first. But like, you know, the other thing as well is that you've been doing this a long time. So it's good to get right into the kind of nitty gritty of it and how you make the deals work as well. So I appreciate that. And if people want to reach out and follow you on the social media, I think you mentioned it already, but it's my property.
I've got my local property buyer Scott, which is the kind of business one, and David Stewart _property is the Instagram for my own one.
Nice one, mate. Keep doing what you're
Facebook
doing.
as well. But
Thanks for your time.
no problem. Thank you for having me on. Cheers.
Thanks, mate.